Your floor isn't chaotic because your coaches are disorganized. I want to get that out of the way within the first 10 seconds because most owners have already quietly decided the opposite. Your floor is chaotic because nobody has ever decided how many things are allowed to happen at the same time. That's it. That's the whole thing. Chaos in a weight room is almost never an effort problem or a caring problem. It's a traffic problem, and you cannot fix a traffic problem by asking your coaches to work harder. Last episode, we set up your three constraint numbers: session length, equipment, and how many athletes can actually train at once. Those numbers define the box. Today, we're doing the thing almost nobody does, which is deciding how many bodies move through that box. Because here's the uncomfortable truth about a written program. A written program tells your staff what to do. It does not tell them when, where, or with whom, and that's the missing information, is where your consistency dies. Let me show you exactly what it looks like. Two coaches on your staff, both good, both bought in, both handed the identical written session for the day. Coach one takes the group, warms them up, and then starts running the day top to bottom as a class. Everybody squats, then everybody benches, then everyone rows. 26 athletes, 4 racks, so 22 kids are watching 4 kids lift. He fills the dead space that way any decent coach would, with cues and encouragement and a little bit of talking, and the session runs 11 minutes long. Coach 2 takes the same workout, splits the room into 2 groups on the fly, and runs it as stations, which is better, except she skipped her groups by who was standing near her. So one group has 8 and another one has 3. The 8-person group backs up, and she ends up cutting the last block entirely to get everybody out on time. Now, you walk in on a Thursday. You didn't see either session. You just see the results. The room feels different depending on what coach is running it. Athletes are getting different volumes, and the program you paid to build isn't actually the program being delivered. And your instinct is to go to your coaches and coach them harder. But neither of them did the coaching failure. They were both handed a plan with a hole in it, and they both filled the hole with improvisation, which is exactly what good people do under time pressure. So here's the shift. It's small, but it changes your entire floor. Groups are not classes. Groups are lanes. You are not splitting athletes to make the group feel smaller or more personal. You're splitting athletes so your room can run things in a parallel without collision. And how many lanes you get is not a preference. It's math based off your equipment. Take the max athletes you can train at once, divide by that number of lanes your stations actually support, and that's your group size. 24 athletes, 3 lanes, 8 per group. That number isn't a suggestion. It's what your building already decided back in step 1. You're just reading it out loud. And once you have lanes, the shape of the days gets simple in a way that surprises people the first time they see it. Everyone starts out together. The core 4 warm-up is the 5 minutes. All groups on the floor at the same time. Coordination is another 5 minutes, still together as a group. The shared open is doing more work than people realize. It's where standards get set, where you get eyes on every athlete before load ever touches a bar, and where the tone of the session is established for everybody at once instead of being reestablished 3 separate times. Then, at the 10-minute mark, the room splits, and the groups move down the flow, side by side. Each block is 15 minutes. Inside a block, there are 4 movements, and your group rotates through those 4 movements as stations. So 8 athletes and 4 stations means 2 per station. Everybody is working. Nobody is watching. On a 60-minute day, that gives you 3 blocks, and then you close with a finisher that flexes between 5 and 10 minutes. Coach's choice. Warm up at 0, coordination at 5, block 1 at 10, block 2 at 25, block 3 at 40, finisher to the buzzer. Here's what actually gets buy-in. Your coaches stop managing the plan and starts managing the clock. That's the entire job change. A coach who has to decide what happens next is improving. A coach who knows the room, splits at 10-minute, and breaks turns over into the 15-minute for coaching, your attention goes back to where you hired them to go, on execution, on cueing, on the athlete who's grinding a rep with a rounded back. And every group completes the full daily structure, different order inside the block. Same total day, which means when you pull an athlete numbers at the end of the week, you're comparing apples to apples because they actually got the same training instead of having two coaches doing two completely different things. The mistake I see most here is owners who solve group problems by splitting the day instead of splitting the room. It sounds reasonable. Group A does day 1, Group B does day 3. We'll rotate them. Don't. The second your athletes are on different days of the same program, you've created two programs. And now you're tracking two progressions, two sets of loads, and two versions of the truth. Everybody trains the same day. They just enter it from different stations. The other one is adding a lane you don't have equipment for. Somebody looks at a full weight room and says, let's just run 4 groups instead of 3. Now, the 4th lane is sharing a rack with the 3rd. And that shared rack becomes the bottleneck. That breaks the whole session's flow. Your lane count is capped by your station count. Always, if you want a 4th lane, that's an equipment decision, not a scheduling decision. So the system is step 2 of the facility system builder. And it does both halves for you. You set your lanes, it does the division, and it tells you your group size, and then it renders the actual session timeline. Every block, every timestamp, warm up through finisher for the exact session length you set. Print it, put it on the wall. That single page is the difference between a facility where the session depends on which coach shows up and a facility where the session runs the same way every single time. The builder is free and it's live at SCS System, Netify app. Go, set your lanes, look at your own flow, and if you'd rather have the whole thing installed for you and you're billing with your groups, your flow, your standards, and your staff structure built off your constraints and documented so your team can actually run it, that's the facility system build. That's the work I do. Reach out and we'll talk through how I can help you and work with you specifically for your facility needs. Next week, we set the schedule, which days you train, and what input that decides whether your athletes start training age. And remember, systems drive success. See you next time.